Joining us is Leslie Shepard, Executive Director of Student Advancement. So Leslie, tell us a little bit about what's been going on in your world to prep for this new school year coming up.
Great question, Dr. Westfall. We've been very busy really working on getting our counselors ready for scheduling either in-person or remote learning. It's a busy time. Scheduling season is always busy with just a few challenges during this time, but we're super excited about what our counselors are doing and the work they're doing behind the scenes.
So you mentioned figuring out in-person and remote learning. So why is it important for parents, as soon as we push the survey out, why is it important for them to get us that information back as quickly as possible?
It's really important right now because we're trying to get those schedules done. So one of the hardest things at the beginning of the school year is making sure that every child is in the right class across the district. So finding out right now whether a parent is choosing remote or in-person learning is going to help us get ready to make those schedules. So we're pushing the survey out now so that we have time to collect the responses and ensure that we have the appropriate schedules built for students.
So if I choose remote, if a student chooses remote, how does that impact their day or their schedule with what they're used to seeing when they're in the campus or in the building?
Sure, that's a good question. Remote learning will look different than it did in the spring. We want our students to be engaged with our teachers as much as is possible. So it will be a blend of a lot of live instruction and some daily assignments that they will be doing, but it will be different than the spring, but a good safe option for parents to choose if that's what they'd like for their student to do.
And for the secondary level, it really is truly following a schedule very similar to what they would follow in the building.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what we're working to build, is something very similar to what they're accustomed to, following that schedule as closely as possible and being able to work with those teachers in a remote setting so that they continue their education just the same as if they were in person.
Okay, so we are using a term called hybrid. It's not really a choice that parents will choose on their survey. They're still choosing in-person or remote.
Correct.
But we're using a term that many other school districts around the country are using it a little bit differently. So let's explain really quick. So when we say hybrid in Keller ISD, what does that mean?
It's a great question. And I'm glad you asked that because it is important for parents to understand what hybrid means. Some of the misconception is that a hybrid learning environment means I pick and choose which classes I'd like to attend and which ones I would not like to attend or attend remotely.
Right.
But that is not the case. Our model is once a student in high school only, 9th through 12th grade, opens that remote selection, there are a set of courses that we have identified as in-person learning courses. They're just better replicated in person for students. Their learning is more advanced because of the skill-based set that goes along with the instruction. And so students will choose, if they choose remote, they have the option of hybrid learning in Keller ISD for one of those courses only. They are 56 CTE courses, performance-based fine arts courses, and high school athletic courses. When they are in the survey and they're selecting those courses, they will show up on their screen so a parent will know if a student is already scheduled into one of those courses and then make the selection that they are able to attend that course in person or they're not able to do that at the time it's offered and they will need a schedule change. What's really important about our hybrid model is that parents and students are going to have to know the actual period of the day it's offered to ensure that they can get their student there because it does require their own transportation.
Right. So, I mean, it's an effort to make sure, students, especially on the CTE side, students who are on a particular pathway towards graduation.
Yes.
We didn't want this issue, or if they wanted to choose remote, we didn't want that to ruin their entire graduation plan.
Exactly,
Okay.
and they're in an endorsement, and that pathway is very important. A lot of these classes are junior and senior level classes, and so they're already 2 years well into that pathway. So we wanted them to have the opportunity to continue their learning and also move on towards certification opportunities as well.
But the key is they're going to have to figure out how to get there in the schedule. So I know that's a potential burden, but again, we're just trying to figure out the best way to take care of our kids.
That's exactly
and offer
right.
the classes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about co-op and several kids, one grade, having the same remote teacher. How are parents managing remotely? I have a second grader, I have a fifth grader, and they're all potentially, and maybe even into the secondary level, potentially on different schedules. How are we helping them with that?
Right. So the one great thing that we're working on behind the scenes from the curriculum and instruction department are what a day might look like for a student so that parents will know in front of that decision once they choose remote. It is difficult. This is a complicated choice to have multiple children at home. What is even probably more complicated is figuring out how to schedule those students so that we're sure they get every course that they need. There's very unique scheduling opportunities during this situation, and so figuring all of those individual schedules out becomes a real challenge, but we are working as hard as we can behind the scenes to make it as easy as possible for parents to choose.
Which goes back to the first question. The
Yes.
sooner we know
The
from
better.
our parents, the better, so we
Yes.
can get to work on it.
Absolutely.
Great. So what else do you want to just provide to our parents just as a way to close this out, as a word of encouragement to them?
Sure, we know that this decision is difficult. We have tried to make this parent survey as easy as possible, can be done in your own language, which we're excited about, so that opens up that opportunity for our parents and students. And then really just to get that survey filled out, if you have questions, there is a contact for you to reach out to if there's anything specific you'd like to know, and that we will be working very hard to give your child their choice.
Well, thanks for everything you're doing and what your team's doing to
Thank you.
support the kids in Keller ISD.
Happy to do it.